Hello and welcome to Blues Beat, where today we'll be talking to James Robson with regards to Carlos Tevez's future at Manchester City. James broke the story in today's MEN that Carlos Tevez could well be staying at Eastlands. So James, tell us more about it.
Well, I think last night most of the people who were at Eastlands, if they were honest, would probably say they thought it was the last time they were going to see Carlos Tevez there. It was the last game of the season. He scored two fantastic goals, and even as he left the pitch, he waved, and there was a feeling of, is this goodbye? But afterwards, Roberto Mancini said that Tevez had told him before the FA Cup final that he wants to stay.
So this hasn't come directly from Carlos Tevez, but you would suggest that it's a strong enough line that there's hope for City fans?
There's certainly hope. Roberto Mancini, he seemed very, very sure of himself. He said, on numerous occasions, I've spoken to Carlos on many times, and I believe he'll stay. He thinks that the fact that they're in the Champions League and the fact that they're going to sign a lot more players this summer will be enough to keep him.
You were at Wembley also. I mean, were there signs as he was leaving the pitch and what have you that suggested this was goodbye, or perhaps, you know, is he inclined to stay?
Not so much as he left the pitch. I mean, he enjoyed the celebrations as much as anybody else at Wembley. It was what he was saying afterwards in the mix zone to reporters, where he said that a lot would depend on his family as to whether he would stay. So I think from that, people took that he probably was going. Now, Mancini has turned it all on its head again.
You mentioned those two wonderful goals he scored against Stoke in midweek. I mean, that wouldn't do his value any harm, were he to leave the club, would it?
No, it's just an evidence, yet again, of how important he is to the club. He cost in the region of £30 million, and he's been absolutely fantastic in 2 seasons at the club. If he does go, it's going to take probably a hell of a lot more money than that to replace him.
I mean, that is an awful lot of money, isn't it? I mean, who do you think could realistically afford to take Carlos Tevez off City's hands?
Well, this is the big issue, and we're hearing that this might be the reason behind the U-turn on his part. It's not so much a case of him wanting to go. It's a case of another club being able to pay the money to take him from City and also pay his wages. He's the highest paid player in the country. So it's a case of meeting, let's say, around £50 million price tag, and then you've got to pay his wages on top of that. There aren't many clubs in the world other than City who can afford that.
So finally, James, is he staying or not?
I'm not as convinced as Roberto Mancini seemed to be last night. I think if Inter Milan or if Chelsea come in with a big enough offer, he'll go. It's just a matter of whether any of them would be willing to pay the money.
James Robson, thank you very much.